Okay, this is a graphic content warning. May not be suitable for those with weak stomachs or tryptophobia. Well, it's not many holes, it's just one hole, but it is on a person and it may be disgusting so to some people. If you have a problem with medical procedures or anything of that ilk, then I don't know, don't look, maybe listen. I would like you to at least listen. Um, Now, the issue that we're talking about started happening around 2010 when we had a car accident. Mum ended up with a fractured rib and fractured breastbone, as well as a mark on her chin from the airbag. But yeah, we ended up hitting a Toyota Camry on our way to Brisbane from Sydney and ended up in the hospital in Tweed Heads. So I, however, ended up with probably a couple of fractured ribs, fractured breastplate, breastbone, and a couple of vertebrae, um, T9 and T10 with microfractures. But the microfracture is very important there because you can't see them on a normal X-ray, despite doctors trying to see it on a normal X-ray. I had to have a CT scan in order to confirm it, and even then it was difficult to see, but it is very painful. Now, the reason why I go on about this is because recently I have been taking Mum to work, and it takes about 4 to 5.5 hours out of my day, and it causes a lot of problems, a lot of pain in my back, especially. Um, for a long time, for years, I've only been able to sit up for about 4 hours. Lately, I've been able to push it to like 6 or 7 hours without too much difficulty, but that's only because of sheer necessity. So I have been doing some exercises to help improve my back, but there's only so much you can do. I also suffered an injury to my good knee, so I've got two bad knees now, but I won't get into that. The focus is on Mum at the moment, and the reason why I'm taking her to work every day. She suffered diabetics, and she has had peripheral neuropathy for quite some time, I believe. And she recently got diagnosed after the accident in 2010, I believe it was. Um, it was a long process for Mum to get diagnosed with diabetics because they thought it might have been hypothyroidism or some crap like that, which often gets misdiagnosed as diabetics and diabetes. After that, she had this pain in her feet. Um, Now, this pain was originally diagnosed as gout for about 2 weeks before Mum had enough pain to want to go into the emergency room, only to discover after a couple of days of being around that um, she had broken her feet. And this is important because it is also a thing fairly common to a lot of diabetics, as well as peripheral neuropathy. It's called Charcot's joint syndrome, which is CHRCOT. It's a French name. A French person discovered the link. Anyway, so in November last year, 2018, she developed a scratch on the bottom of her foot. Now, she didn't think the scratch was anything to worry about, but when you consider the she's been wearing surgical boots for a long time, and they don't often get cleaned, and she wears them pretty much 24/7. She rarely ever takes them off. Occasionally, she might wear her slippers, but that's not all too common these days. Of course, she wouldn't wash them, and she wouldn't wear socks with them either, so you can imagine the bacterial buildup over a period of time. She has bought new surgical boots and gotten rid of the old ones, but still, as I know from my own personal experience with smelly shoes that the bacteria buildup can happen quite quickly. And if you don't wash your shoes or wear socks on a regular basis, this can cause problems. Anyway, when the scratch developed, you put a band-aid on it and whatnot, but this didn't stop the scratch from developing even further. After 1 week of this scratch and it getting slightly more painful, I suggested that she go to the podiatrist or a doctor to get it looked at. But she, in her stoic stubbornness, decided not to. I said, I did mention to her that with diabetics you have a compromised immune system. Now, that may not happen to everyone. All these symptoms may not happen to everyone, but when you consider that mum's considered overweight, but she hasn't been able to lose any weight. The only time she did lose weight was when she was first diagnosed as diabetic and was given diabetic medication that wasn't insulin. And that has caused her a lot of problems, a lot of throwing up for a long time before they decided to give her insulin. Type 2 diabetic, I believe. So, yeah. Anyway, back to the story. After 2 weeks, the pain got unbearable, so she ended up making an appointment with a podiatrist. When she went in, I went out for a smoke, and after some time I went back in, and he already had done some assessment, some debriding, which is removing of dead skin, getting rid of the pus and all that sort of stuff. So I only saw the aftermath of that. I didn't take any photos at that time because I didn't have a phone, and it didn't occur to me to use mum's phone, although when she was in hospital, she was hospitalised because this is a serious issue that could have gotten a lot worse than what it did. If she didn't go to the podiatrist, she probably would have ended up with gangrene or worse. The bacteria count in her bloodstream was so high, it was unbelievable, to be honest. Even the doctors were like, what the hell? We've got to get you on antibiotics straight away. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. She was on high dosages of antibiotics for months. Considering that it's April, I'd say about 3 months of antibiotics, give or take. She did stop taking them after a while because she didn't feel the need for it. Anyway, she thought that the bacteria count was low enough, so she stopped taking it. She's okay now. I don't know the bacteria count in her blood, but last time we checked, it was about 10ish or below 10, as opposed to thousands when she first went in. So, if you're a diabetic and you develop any symptoms, like particularly in your feet or anywhere where you might have less sensation than usual, do get it checked out by a doctor or podiatrist or whoever you see. Very important. When she was in hospital, I started taking photos with her phone until I eventually got my own phone. I don't have a lot of photos, but what I do have may be very disturbing to some people. And this is the reason why I suggest going to a doctor as soon as these sorts of symptoms start appearing. It doesn't matter if you waste the doctor's time, or you feel like you wasted the doctor's time, or feel like you're spending money, because trust me, the amount of money that has been spent on mum's foot for this condition, it's lucky that Australia has a universal healthcare system called Medicare. Otherwise, we'd be paying through the nose. Because she was in the hospital for at least 2 weeks. She had a VAC dressing, which is a dressing with a tube going down to the wound to draw out any moisture with a vacuum pump, which she had to carry around for probably up to 3 months, minimum 2 to 3 months. So it's been a very arduous. She has been walking around on it with a VAC dressing. She did find it a bit of a problem, carrying around the vacuum pump all the time. Very annoying because you got to charge it every couple of hours or something like that. And the nurses wouldn't always do the vac dressing. Of course, we had a community nurse come in and do the vac dressing when she wasn't in the hospital, or when the hospital stopped coming to do the vac dressing. That she was in hospital for 2 weeks. A month after that, the nurses RDTA, or whatever they are, the branch of the Royal North Shore Hospital, came to visit us every 3 days, and then community nurses took over from there after a month, which then went on for about another month, give or take. Then she ended up going to the hospital again and getting a cast on because the vac dressing wasn't doing as much as would have hoped. You'll see the drastic difference after the vac dressing came off and she started wearing a plaster cast, a total contact cast. But we had to pay for the boot that goes over that cast, which was like $120. Luckily, that's all we had to pay. But the rental cost for the vac dressing is, for the vac machine, is $75 a day. Now, when it came off, I rushed home to get the rest of the vacuum machine equipment. It comes with a box and manual and power cable and all that sort of stuff, so I had to run home, get all that, take it to the hospital, so that way the hospital wouldn't be charged at least another $75 for all that crap. Because the vac machine has to be sent away and all that sort of jazz. So anyway, after the vac dressing came off and the cars went on, she was unable to drive, and this has been the case pretty much since mid-February till now, and it's still ongoing at the moment. We've got probably up to another month to go before it comes off completely and she is able to drive by herself. Even then, she may need me to go with her a few times until her foot regains its mobility again. Anyway, we'll move over to the I'm sorry that I'm silhouetted because of the light in the background coming from outside. I do apologize for that. We'll bring up the images. And here we are. Oh, well, that won't do. Now, that's the antibiotic line that she had to have. She got 3 bags, 3 bags, 1 bag 3 times a day. And that white stuff, it's not pus that's inside the wound. They're little round antibiotic beads. As you can see, it is pretty big. It was a lot worse when she first went in. And this is after we got the vac dressing removed and started putting on a plaster cast. And you can see that the healing process started up a lot faster. It is pretty disgusting and extremely painful. The podiatrist agreed with me that the pain was, Mum said it was on a scale of 1 to 10, 10. But I also said that if she was able to feel all the pain, due to neuropathy, she can't. But if she was able to feel all the pain, it'd be close to 100 out of 10. 10 times worse than what she could feel at the time. So, as you can imagine, this is pretty important stuff, particularly when your immune system is compromised. Not a lot of people realize that diabetics do have a compromised immune system. It may vary from person to person, but it does happen a lot. And yeah, this is sort of my PSA. So from about mid-February till now, I've been driving mum to work, and I've been recording all those videos and uploading them. I've interrupted the upload process because I've still got a number of videos. I've got 14 videos that are unprocessed. All I'm doing is just joining them together. I'd rather keep them uncut as much as possible. And 3 videos as well as a P-Plate of the Day video. And that's a total of 14 gigs, as you can imagine. On ADSL2 Plus, we only get an upload speed of 1 megabit, which is very slow, so it takes a very long time. The original size of these videos would have been 28.4 gig, roughly, so I reduced the size of them. Instead of 1440 or 2K, I reduced them down to 720p. So I'll go through, they're all unlisted at this moment. I'll go through and add some subtitles or what I think is going on in the videos, or what's people are not doing properly and stuff like that, and just add some extra little comments in there just to make the video probably a little bit more entertaining. You can turn off those comments and those subtitles anytime you want, so there's no problem with that. And I think that just about covers it. I've uploaded probably close to 50 odd driving videos, all unlisted but one, and they're all a bit shaky, and they're all me taking mum to work and driving back home, then going back to mum's work, picking mum up and coming back, as well as some stuff like going to the shops on the weekends or during the week after picking mum up from work or whatever, going to vote and all that sort of jazz. So, but these uploads do take a very long time, so I haven't been able to do much else, considering that my back's been very painful during this process. I even just come back from picking mum up, dropping mum off at work. I just got back at about 9:30, and we left at 7:30ish. So it's not a very long distance. The round trip is 40 k's, so that's 80 k's per day. So yeah, you do end up with like 5 gig, 10 gig. If I left it unchecked and in the highest possible quality, it'd be like 16 gig just for 1 hour. So I do apologize for the quality of the videos if they're too poor for your liking, but it's what I can manage with. A Samsung Galaxy Note 4, I used one of that with 32 gig onboard memory and a 16 gig external card, so I've just been using the 16 gig external card, and I should increase the size of it to at least 128 gig, but that's like $80, and that's just a cost I can't afford at the moment. I did get a new camera, webcam, which I'm using right now, so as you can see, it's a lot better than the old one. So I'll leave it there for now, and I'll continue the upload process for the videos. Once all this debacle is over, I'll get back to my hopefully regular programming and get some more of Ultima 5 done. Okay, I'll see you guys later.